Hello, friends. Today's chapter of the day is Job chapter 21. And what's going on in Job chapter 21 is this is Job's response to some more thoughts from his friends. Remember, they sat quietly for a week, and then they're now engaging in this discussion back and forth. And really, where we're at in the discussion right now is the friends say, bad things only happen to bad people. A bad thing happened to you, therefore you're bad people. And Job's response has been, but I'm not. And that's kind of the back and forth that we're engaged in. And what you see in Job chapter 21 is that there is some element of talking past each other. And Job's going to address that at the beginning and the end of the chapter. So that's where we start. We start in the first couple of verses with a plea from Job that his friends should listen to him. He's saying, he begins with, listen carefully to my words. Bear with me while I speak, and after I've spoken, then you can keep mocking me. So that's where we start. It's somewhat sincere, a little sharp, but that's what Job wants. And then he goes into his argument, and his argument really breaks down into three main parts. The first is, look around you, the wicked do prosper. Now, he's not saying they prosper forever, certainly not eternally, but in this life, there are plenty of examples of the wicked prospering. There were at the time of Job, and there are today. The second part of his argument is, it's not even an argument quite yet, is that God allows them to prosper. So it's not just that they're prospering and God can't stop them. We've talked about, Job defending God's sovereignty, and here's where we're back at God's sovereignty, and Job is saying the wicked prosper. God is just, but somehow God is allowing the wicked to prosper because he's the one who's in control of everything. So that's kind of verses 17 through 21 or so. And then verses 22 to 26, Job finishes with, but God is wise. So first, the wicked prosper. Second, God allows the wicked to prosper. And third, God is wise. And that's kind of, again, circling back to Job, knowing God's justice, knowing God's sovereignty, and not understanding this supernatural thing that's happening in his life right now, despite the fact that his friends are very quick to just say, clearly you got a sin issue. And I think sometimes we do that with others in the church, where we say, well, all those bad things are happening, you must deserve it. And if we all got what we deserved, we'd be in hell. So that's not how things work mercifully, because God has got a bigger plan than that. So that's the meat of this. And then Job ends the section from really 27 through 34, kind of laying out or destroying the friends' position and all the things the friends have said. And I'm going to read it to you because I think it's useful. Starting at 27. I know full well what you are thinking, the schemes by which you would wrong me. You say, where now is the house of the great, the tents where the wicked lived? And so Job's saying their argument is, hey, all the wicked people are dead, and the great people are living there. That's what's going on. And Job says, have you never questioned those who travel? Have you paid no regard to their accounts, that the wicked are spared from the day of calamity? In other words, Job's saying, look around. There are wicked people out there, and there are good things happening to those wicked people. And that they are delivered from the day of wrath. Who denounces their conduct to their face? Who repays them for what they have done? They are carried off to the grave, and watch is kept over their tombs. So not only do they live good lives, they die having lived good, blessed lives, and are honorably buried. The soil in the valley is sweet to them. Everyone follows after them, and a countless throng goes before them. So Job is saying, all of the things you're saying to me are nonsense. And then he literally says that. Verse 34, how can you console me with your nonsense? Nothing is left of your answers but falsehood. And what he's saying to them is that they are not grounding their counsel to him in the truth. They're starting with a premise that is flatly untrue. And what he's saying is, because they've started with a flatly untrue premise, their counsel to him is useless. And that's what we can take from this. Certainly there's the overarching story of Job. and the sovereignty of God and his justice and how those all interplay. But the specific lesson we can take from chapter 21 is that we can't be reliable counselors if we're not grounding our counseling in truth. So if we go to others in our lives and we address issues or we respond to things that they bring to us and we're not taking them to the truth, we're useless. We're nonsense. And where's the truth? In the Scripture. So there isn't a conversation that we can be having where we're not leading people back to the Scripture. Because if we're involved in those conversations, we've made ourselves completely useless. God has given us his own wisdom, his own truth in the form of the Scripture. And we're fools if we don't use it in every situation, and useless friends if we try to counsel our friends without leading them back to God. Because he is sovereign, and he is just, and he is merciful. So those are my thoughts on chapter 21. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to hearing your responses. God bless.